If you see this, just run. No, it is not authentic. The deal is too good to be true. We're not talking about the guitar. We're talking about this. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. For some reason, I'm seeing this a lot on eBay and Reverb, so call this a PSA, as this is currently listed for about $2,500 as a Gibson Les Paul Standard Teal Blue Unplayed TV model, which, assuming this was a custom shop produced instrument, that would actually be an alright price. You've got a Gibson logo, says Les Paul, TV model even, which is kind of strange considering the blue finish, but okay. We've seen crazier things out of the custom shop, but oh my goodness, what are these tuner buttons? Gibson has never used anything looking like that on this model. But at the same time, it's kind of cool because it has the ring of a Clusin, but a slightly more elongated button shape. But then when you look on the back, it has a semi-what resemblance of a Gibson custom shop serial number. You've got the 8 for 1958 reissue, all right. 9 would mean some sort of a 2009, 2019, 2029. And then we've got a production number for that year. It's set net construction. But had I not told you, would you have actually noticed that this was a fake Gibson? This is one of those models that does not have a lot of the telltale signs. For example, a lot of guys go, look for the 3-screw truss rod cover. This one's got the tour. Now, you can tell the shape is not correct at all, but it's close enough to fool the untrained eye. And custom shop style serial numbers are actually ink stamped on it. If you look very closely, you can see that this actually appears to be etched into the finish. But the main takeaway I want you guys to realize, if you ever see a real Gibson advertised in a styrofoam case, no. Just no. And that's because that's how those get shipped from China. They have those styrofoam packages. But outside of destroying our whole planet thing, it is interesting because it acts as a case as well as the shipping carton, because a lot of times you'll just find those things taped over and they don't even have to use a box. Now, could you potentially use the theory that, oh, they bought a Gibson, but they chose to ship their real Gibson in this? I mean, yeah, it's possible, but who's gonna do that? If you're buying something used online and you're not sure, I do offer private help sessions on my website, or you can just bypass that all and buy brand new, which the sponsor of tonight's episode can definitely help you with, Sweetwater, as they are a fantastic place to pick out the exact guitar you want. And it's not just guitars, they also have band and orchestra instruments, accessories, cables. You can find everything at Sweetwater, even computers and DJ lighting. So check them out utilizing my affiliate links in the description. But this one is a certified fake, although a pretty good looking one. So now let's go to sample number 2. I already had that blue one bookmarked in my brain, but to see it again, it's like, ah, no. Sometimes it's people that just don't know any better. They got a bum deal. They were thinking they were going to be making money and they're honestly selling it thinking it's legit. Other times it's just guys importing these looking to scam. So besides our styrofoam, what stands out here? First thing I notice, toggle switch. A hex nut around it instead of your skirted nut and washer combination. You got your font just way not right for rhythm and treble. But if you're like, oh, just look for the fret nibs. If it doesn't have fret nibs, it can't be a Gibson. Even though there are exceptions to that rule. But yeah, this Gibson has fret nibs. They look awful, but from first glance, looks okay. Coming over to our cutaway, it's not the best, but I wouldn't expect most people to notice that. I can tell our pickup rings are way too thick. Especially look at the style of screws that they were using for height adjustment, as well as putting inside the guitar. Generally, these outside ones are flat, so that's a little bit of a giveaway. But another big one outside of fret nibs that people are always keen to look for, because it's the first thing they teach you in Gibson spotting school, is this. Your bridge. If it's got the metric posts, which means a slotted adjustment, it's fake. This one does not have that. However, Gibson USA has been utilizing one that has a hex key lately, and that's kind of what those look like, so I could see how somebody would get tripped up. Next, we can go to our tailpiece. Man, there's more wrong with that than right. Like, yeah, that's way too much flat space here. And do you see these? They're domed. They should not be. They should be completely flat at the top. It's like Frankenstein bolts over here. And somebody's already typing away in the comments, what's with that string alignment and spacing? Okay, I will agree with you. The low E starts here. The high E is sitting all the way over here. Yeah, that's not right. However, they don't actually have the strings in the right spot. I think that's because the tailpiece just does not line up. So those must have been pre-slotted and not slotted for this particular guitar. And then if we come zooming out, this bridge, there's no way that's installed properly because it's supposed to slant this way. Here's a real Gibson USA ABR1 on top of their conversion style studs. This actually does slant this way ever so slightly. Here it is on that lefty one. Yeah, clear as day. Your righty guitar should not slant that way because your intonation is just going to be off. But what's funny is somebody's actually stair-stepped it like normal. Now, technically, we could bend those over. In general, I think this whole thing is just messed up because look, even if we were to move those strings over, I think these pickups are just not in the right location. And if you really zoom in here, you can actually see the extending of the humbucker route. But where it went right, it's got a pretty stellar looking top, two-piece center seam. Most times Gibsons won't be perfectly book matched like that. So man, that was just the first photo. Now we come up here. Credit where credit's due. The Les Paul model silkscreen, it looks pretty decent. It's actually fairly convincing, all things considered, because they're trying to pass this off as a 70s Les Paul, so some people might just think, weird Norland era goodness, but that logo's just not right. It doesn't actually even appear to be pearloid even. It's got like hair underneath it. And yeah, we've got some weirdness going on around our tuners, but it gets further ugly as we come up here. And then what on earth is that? Does somebody have a socket just left on our truss rod nut? Possible, but that also looks like a Fender style bullet truss rod. I've never seen that on a Gibson before, but it's a lot of fun. So lots of warning signs up here, but hey, at least the tuner tips are about right. Here's another viewing angle of our janky placement of everything. And then the back looks like some sort of a cherry satin finish. I don't actually see a serial number on this one, and I don't believe those tuners are actually legit, even though they have the Gibson branding. But once again, it's not a bolt-on neck construction, and they even went through the troubles of dirtying it up for you, and maybe even some light relicking. Looking at this photo, I almost thought it had a pancake body for a minute, but nah, that just appears to be wood grain. Now here's the real kicker. He says, excellent condition, 70s era LP, mahogany body with maple top. Sounds great. Fretboard shows little use. Has a bullet truss rod. Grover tuners? Nope. The styrofoam box pictured is not original box. I keep in there because it's a tight, secure fit. But it's not his only incorrectly listed Gibson. Like, look right here. The problem with that is there wasn't really a model exactly like this made in the 70s. However, once again, it's got a fairly realistic looking wrap tail piece. It could have been refinished. To the untrained eye, now that the Gibson logo has been obscured a bit, it might look okay. Hey, look, we've got an appropriate style truss rod nut on it. This looks like some sort of a Gibson that has been reworked. However, at the same time, this one could have potentially started life as one of like the lawsuit era ones, but it's certainly been highly modified here. And I could totally see it fooling someone, but the price is pretty cheap. I wouldn't suggest it though. And then now take a look at this Schenker V. Man, you can see those replaced pickups, replaced knobs. That finish had to have been redone, right? This is just another awful fake. I mean, just look at all this stuff. Crappy logo. They've got this ugly truss rod cover on it. Probably doesn't even have a truss rod in it. No, this one's actually real. That's what's strange to me. He's got real mixed in with fake and a whole bunch of other import stuff. However, I'm not seeing a serial number, so maybe it was refinished. I would have to tear this one apart because knowing everything else in this guy's shop, I'm very leery, especially when he's saying it's mint condition, because did you guys notice this? There's a Strat output jack on the front? No, those don't have that. That can't be mint. It's been modified. So it might just be that this was a legitimate 80s Flying V and then it got refinished. And then somebody added a new truss rod cover on it. Most of the Schenker Vs that show up look like this. They're pretty yellowed out, but they do have the output jack on the front, so it's possible somebody just routed it out a little bit there. Some of the other guitars he's selling under his own brand are actually kind of cool though. Like some sort of an HSS Stratocaster that's a bolt-on neck, but with some sort of a mahogany-like body. I do enjoy the cutaway that he's got there, and then check this out. Little seahorse inlays and reverse explorer headstock. That's a cool design. I enjoy that quite a bit. But if you like seahorses, I'd enjoy this thing. It's a straight up seahorse guitar with a routed in Floyd Rose, matching pickups. Having the eye be the toggle switch is hilarious. And then you get some additional abalone and star inlays. Gibson might have some problems with his headstock shape, but that could be fun for your oceanside gig. It's listed at $1450. He also has his own version of a Les Paul, but with the PRS reverse headstock. That's fun. It's got some sort of a blue quilty top, and it's a wrap tail piece with some really out there controls. And apparently he's got more than one seahorse. This one's a more glitter colored one. And if you're into cars, apparently this is some sort of an engine. You must love his reverse style headstocks. And for $650, he just has a straight up octopus guitar. I guess I never thought about seeing that. It has a 100 inlay. Like this is this octopus's head, and then you got the tentacles going around. And oh man, even look at the headstock. It continues on the theme. Or maybe Medusa's more your style. I do appreciate the little snakes that we've got going on. That would have took some time to craft. So some interesting listings in that shop. A couple that need revised and others that just need appreciated. But all right, Troglodytes, I hope this information helps you one day, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.